Good evening. I am always deeply moved when I see such diversity. I vividly remember the day my father passed away in mid-May 2005. He was the founder of the Algemeiner in 1972. I, as his eldest son, made the determination right there and then. I had not worked with him, but literally as we traveled back from the funeral with tears in our eyes, the decision to make sure that the entity would be perpetuated. I cannot deal with the fact enough things die that are out of our control. I didn't want this to die when we had control over it. And though I didn't really know where it's going to go, but I did have a sense of a vision, especially the internet was just beginning to bloom, to create a global entity that would be a courageous voice. And a few years later, David Efyun came on board, and really want to give him the credit due to him. And his dear wife, and the entire staff and team, those, the front end and the back end, to create such a tremendous following, a tremendous partnership, I should say, which is all of you and all of your friends. I want to just share, came to mind when David was speaking earlier. He mentioned that he doesn't know, we don't know what will be the end of this tragic story of anti-Semitism. Being that I'm the publisher and chairman, I think I do know. If you don't mind, I will share. They tell this tragic but also beautiful story that right after the World War II ended and the Jews were liberated, so of course the Nazis went undercover, hiding, changing their names, trying to escape. Well, one Nazi who was running for his life met one of the Jewish partisans in the forest who was armed and the Nazi was not. So he was sure that he would be murdered right there in revenge for all he had done. And he looked the Jew in the eye, and the Jew looked him in the eye, and the Jew put down his gun and said, "No, though you deserve to be killed, you and all your subhuman colleagues, but I'm going to do something worse than that. I'm going to let you live. And I will demonstrate and show you the rest of your life that whatever you tried to kill will never die. And we don't fight hate with hate, we fight hate with love. And that you'll see that we will not just survive, but we will thrive and will rebuild. And Judaism will not have a renaissance as it has now after World War II, in all of its history, due to what you tried to destroy." So though so many obituaries were written on the Jewish people in the last few thousand years, and above all right after 1945, here we are, not just standing, but growing and thriving. Just go to the state of Israel and tell me how many construction sites you can see with your naked eye. And here we are celebrating. And it's not just celebrating Judaism, I should say. It's really celebrating humanity. Because everything has a beginning. We're about to celebrate Rosh Hashanah, the Hebrew New Year, coming Sunday night. But it's important to note, it's not a Jewish New Year. It's a universal New Year. It's celebrating the birthday of the human race. The human race created in the divine image. Each individual, no matter what color, race, religion, faith or no faith, has absolute dignity and sanctity of life. It took thousands of years for the United States to establish a country where they would document it in an institutionalized way that all people are created equal. But it's something that we always knew from the beginning of time, the sanctity of every individual life. So though, yes, we have to confront anti-Semitism, but there's a story behind the story. As David said accurately, we're not just anti-Semitism. It's not just we stand for being against something. We stand for the sanctity of life. And for some reason, some odd reason, the Jews are always a lightning rod, the miner's canary, the different analogies used, that whenever anybody wanted to defile, to debase, and to destroy that dignity, the Jews were always at the forefront. So a war against anti-Semitism is really a war for that dignity. And on Rosh Hashanah, we honor it by saying that every human being was put here on earth. And one of the great lines I love to share is that birth is God saying that you matter. Your birth, your existence, your life, every moment of it means that you're indispensable. You have something to contribute that no one that ever lived or ever will live can fulfill but you. And that, to me, is the real vision of the Algemeiner in the biggest sense of the word. And that will be the end of the story, David and all honored guests here. It'll end where it began, with Adam and Eve, sacred souls put on earth, their children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and we are their descendants, the entire human race, 7.5 billion of us and counting. And the end will be that we will recognize that dignity. But we have to fight for it, and we have to stand for it. We have to do whatever it takes. And that's what the Algemeiner stands for. So you can celebrate it together with myself, together with the Algemeiner team, together with all of you. We're partners in that historic effort. So with that, I would like to introduce. I'd love to be able to say we have 7.5 billion people in the J 7.5 billion, but that would be a little much, and not all of them necessarily have deserved it. So we got it down to 100, called the J100. The top 100 people in the world that have positively influenced Jewish life, both here and in Israel. And we honor them precisely for that reason, because they have honored us and honored the human race and the Jewish people with their contributions to stand up with care, courage, and calling it out. And thus, the Algemeiner J100, the year 2019. So please, look at the screens. We'll have a quick fix of all these J100, and I want to thank them. Some of them are here with us tonight, some of them are watching, some will be in other places in the world, for their contributions. And hopefully everyone here in this room and everyone on earth will be honored as well in the coming years for making such a unique contribution. Thank you very much. Everyone have a very good evening and a very blessed year. And get your eyes to the screen. Run now the J100.